Hi everybody, welcome to the Toronto Real Estate Show with Jenelle and Leslie. I'm Jenelle Cameron.
Hello there, I'm Leslie Pearson.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about predictions for home prices over the next 5 years. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a great week and thanks for tuning in. And kind of an interesting topic. Today we're going to talk about what some experts, call them experts, think that the home prices will be like over the next 5 years in Toronto. And it's kind of interesting because we were at the same time looking at a graph that talked about the average home price over the last 5 years, and it all kind of is probably more interesting than you think, so we'll talk about that too. But in the meantime, how's your week been, Leslie? What's going on up there?
Boring.
Yeah.
My week has been boring. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good. I think people, it's this happened the last two interest rate decreases where like nothing happened at first, and then all of a sudden it seemed like there was like a little uptick. So I'm starting to feel this week a little bit more.
Yeah.
Last week nothing happened.
Yeah,
didn't even have any new listings on the market.
Yeah,
it was weird.
My boring is reflecting last week.
Yeah,
it was very quiet.
Very quiet. But this week I feel something's going on.
Yeah.
So
you were telling me we have some listings and there's some activity.
A little bit, or at least people are putting their hand up to see it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Had a bit of urgency from it hasn't worked out yet, but a couple of buyers who were like, we need something, to close by the end of the year kind of thing. It's like, all right. So
because they sold something?
I think in both cases they were just motivated to move in before. I mean, that could be an interest rate thing. Maybe they're locked in with something and they need to secure it by the end of the year.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good too.
Yeah, because evidently the mortgage applications are up and people are...
Everyone's saying that.
Yeah, they're more interested, I think. So.
Now, I will say we had a lease listing and we got 3 competing offers to lease it. All were young-ish tenants, good salaries, great credit scores. Nobody wants to buy.
Really?
Yeah, none of them had any interest in buying.
And when you say young-ish, what are we talking about?
I would say they were max 30, maybe, the 3 of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably a little young to have them scrape the money together, perhaps.
Maybe, but I'm blown away by the salaries some of these kids make, and their complete lack of interest in wanting to buy ever. They say, but because the landlord always asks like what their intentions are, because she hates turnover, and they all say if we like it we'll be here forever.
But it's a basement, right?
It's a basement.
Yeah, so no offense to people that live in the basement, but
we're going to outgrow it.
Well, it's a transient type of home.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, right? There aren't a lot of people who aspire to live in the basement for long.
And the guy who is going to be the tenant has rented for like almost, I think, 8 years. And he's always been high in the sky in condos, and now he's going to a basement. So we'll see how that works.
That could be interesting. Yeah. Well, I think, as we keep saying to people kind of week after week, if you are thinking about buying, just be prepared, because I have the expectation that once the new year comes, there will be more kind of activity happening, and I just would hate for people to lose out on the kind of great deals we're seeing right now. And I'm not saying like prices are going to go ballistic, but I do feel like they will go up next year.
Yeah, I think that I feel the same way. So, your window of getting a great deal is closing. And if you can, I would do it now rather than wait. I don't see a reason to wait.
Yeah.
You can, get pre-qualified, pre-approved for a mortgage, but it doesn't mean you're assuming that mortgage now. So there's flexibility there. And I assume that when you say get prepared, you mean get your financing lined up.
Yeah, and really keep your eyes out. I mean, if you're looking to, buy a small bungalow in Oshawa or a condo in Mississauga, whatever the case may be, like get your eyes to it and
Yeah.
start really paying attention, because I think that's the key, is just being prepared to jump as soon as something good comes up that you want to make a move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
So I did want to talk a little bit about where we think price expectations are going to be for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worthwhile looking at what the prices have been over the last several years here in Ontario.
Looking to the past is the predictor for the future.
Well, it is. It really is. And although real estate goes up and down, I think right now people are thinking that if you bought a few years ago, you've lost a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, they're obsessing over the fact that there are peaks and valleys, and
Mhm.
you might have experienced a little bit of a valley without really understanding the peaks that have taken place that make that valley not really a valley. I don't know if that made any sense, but
Yeah.
I mean, has there ever been a 5-year period where GTA real estate has gone down?
I guess during that time in the 80s or whatever, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah. So it doesn't, typically happen.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, 10 years ago, 2014, the average price in Ontario was $425,000. So today, in this horrible market that we're in, if you bought in 2014, you have made, we're basically up 101% from 2014. So I think we can all agree that over that 10-year span, everybody has made money.
Right.
So this chart I'm looking at, kind of goes from 2014 up. And this is just Ontario. So keep in mind when we are looking at Toronto, of course, is even more extreme in terms of the, price increases, but also, places like Durham region. I think I bought my first rental property in Ajax in maybe 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I paid $250.
Wow.
So whatever happens, it's never going to be $250 again.
Right.
Okay, so 2014 to 15 was a 9.42% increase, and prices went up to $465. From 15 to 16, we had an almost 18% increase.
Mm-hmm.
This is way back in 2015, and average price went up to $549.
Yeah.
Then we saw a 7.89% increase. 2018, of course, we all remember that was kind of it was a weird year. I can't remember why exactly, but prices only went up hardly at all, 0.19%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, by the way, between 2017 and 2018 was the lowest price increase that we've seen in the last 10 years. People think it's now, but it was then. And it was only 0.19%. 2019, we saw a 2.2% increase.
Mm-hmm.
2020, we saw a 13.5% increase, and now prices are at $688. So we all remember COVID in 2020, and people talked about how prices were out of control in 2020. But 2021, they went up again 25.39% and brought the average price to $863.
Yeah.
That's huge. And that at that time, I think the difference was between, like in the suburbs, like the city prices were holding strong, but the suburb prices just went ballistic.
Yeah.
So again, we had $688 in 2020, $863 in 2021. We had $884 in 2022, $894 in 2023, and now we're down to $858, which is a negative 4% increase. So
it's a 4% decrease.
4% decrease,
Yeah.
So when you are looking at that, and I think that, again, everybody seems to think that we have lost so much money over the last couple of years, and in reality, we're still up where we were in 2021 when prices were crazy.
Right.
That's still where we're at right now.
So, are our numbers where they were in 2021?
Yeah, like they're 858 is our average price now, and 863 they were in 2021.
So what are the lessons looking back 10 years? What do you take from all of that?
I mean, I guess for the most part, I think it's important to recognize no matter what happens, real estate will ebb and flow. It goes up and down, but it's always going to trend upward. You may have little dips, but you're always going up at the same time.
And another lesson I take from it, because I get sometimes calls from people about just that, the most recent, like the decrease, is unless you're selling, I almost say who cares?
Yeah, I think that's something you and I
Right.
totally agree on.
Yeah, like it's irrelevant unless you're selling.
It's irrelevant.
And if you're selling, it's relevant, but if you look at these numbers, you're still so far ahead of the game that I think it's nothing to cry at. Yeah, I mean, it's not the crazy, hectic, heady days of like the COVID years, but you're still way ahead of the game.
You're still way ahead of the game.
So yeah, it's gone down, but it's like, I don't know, can't think of another thing to compare that to, but it's like a false, so it's a false regret. So you didn't sell in 2021, but you're selling now, and you're gonna make so much money on your purchase.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the important thing to remember for anybody out there who's thinking about buying real estate or who already owns property is that in theory, you're going to keep this for longer than 2 to 3 years. You're not buying it.
We
to
always
turn
counsel
around.
our clients to
Yeah.
hang on to them. I say 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, you're not buying it
Because of
to make
those
a buck.
ebbs and like
Yeah.
peaks and valleys. You don't want to be caught in in an urgent situation when there's a valley.
Also, there's a lot of costs involved with real estate.
Yeah.
Land transfer
Yeah,
tax,
you don't want to
commissions,
incur them too many times.
Yeah, so most people are
Yeah.
going to own something. I would say probably the average is, my average in my circles of clients, I'd say 10 years.
Yeah.
So, most of those people have done quite well for themselves.
Yeah. So if you're not in a situation where you're selling, I almost say like tune it out. Don't listen to it.
Yeah, but if you're buying, you should pay attention because you need to understand that despite whatever it is that you hear out there in the media who like to sometimes talk negatively about ownership, and I don't know why, I guess it's sensational, but this is the place where you are going to make your money. Nowhere else are you going to double your money or make 101% on your investment in 10 years,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're on the same page. There's no stronger investment than Ontario real estate, I think.
Yeah.
And I do listen to some podcasts and investment people who say otherwise, and I don't understand where their numbers are coming from.
No, I don't. It just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of based on all of that data, and people crunch these numbers for a living, we look at where real estate is expected to be over the next 5 years. Now, I think everybody out there thinks that we're on the wave back up. Whether it's now or 2 or 3 months from now, the wave is going to head back up again.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important for everybody out there to keep in mind if you are waiting for something. Because if you are waiting for the bottom to fall out, it's probably not going to happen, but we may have hit bottom, or we're probably pretty close to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the longer you wait, things could turn around in a heartbeat as they do, and all of a sudden you're stuck,
Yeah, because there's like, as in many areas of our lives, there's like a herd mentality that happens. Like when there starts to be a momentum, and when people start to get back into the buyer pool, then more people get back in the buyer pool, and it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Yeah, and you cannot time the market. We've talked about that so many times, but because by the time you realize, we hit the bottom and we're on the way up, you're already on the way up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of things that we want to be thinking about over the next 5 years in terms of what's going on with the economy. I think we will still be seeing record amounts of immigration come into Canada, but in particular into the GTA. And all of those people need somewhere to live.
Yeah.
And we're not building apartment buildings quickly enough. And so a lot of those people will buy, because a lot of them do come in with money. And a lot of them, even if they're renting places, people need to buy those places for them to rent. So I think that's really the driving force behind the strength of the economy, really.
Is immigration.
Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So that will bring prices up. So on top of that, I think the economy is improving. I think from an interest rate standpoint, we will be stable over the next couple of years. I think that's what people seem to believe anyway. And as a result of that, prices will absolutely continue to go up.
Right. So there'll be a stabilization and increase longer term. Yeah.
So right now, as of today in 2024, the average price in the GTA for a home is $1,082,000. Based on these numbers, the 5-year prediction numbers here, in 2025, the average price of a home in the GTA will be $1,136,000.
Mm-hmm.
We think there will be another jump of about the same the following year, 2026, $1,193,000.
Right.
2027, $1.253 million. In 2028, $1.315 million. So between now and then, we are, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And
those are moderate increases compared to what they have been.
These are forecasts, but it's based on, some quantifiable predictions, I guess, not just pie in the sky kind of thoughts.
Yeah. I don't think any economist right now is expecting another 25% return year, but if we're looking at 3 to 5%.
It sounds steady. It sounds like steady growth.
It sounds like steady growth.
And that's secure and that's stable, and that's what you want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So what do you think then, if you hear this and you believe it, because some people won't believe it, but if you do believe it, what would be stopping people, do you think, from pulling the trigger? Because that's kind of where my head is at right now, is I'm trying to understand why aren't people buying?
I don't know, have there not been enough interest rate reductions, and have their interest rate reductions not been big enough? Mm-hmm. Is there something in our demographics that is changing the interest in home ownership? Is there some job insecurity? It's got to be financial, right?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's a lot of job insecurity now, or at least amongst your
I hear about
circles?
It, but I probe to find out, why do you feel that way, and there isn't much behind it. Mm-hmm. So there's a feeling, I think there's rumblings and there's discussions at major employers, but it's all hearsay almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear a bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hear a ton of it.
I don't really either. I think it's...
I don't hear a ton of it, but I do hear it.
Yeah. I think my son is in computer science at school, and I know in the tech sector there's been some rumblings of over the last year. I guess things have slowed down a little bit, but I think they'll pick up too.
But I also hear that despite what's happening with interest rates, etc., that people aren't feeling the benefit of the positive economic indicators yet.
Right.
So life is still, in their minds, very expensive. And I think that's a problem.
And the other thing I wonder is, this doesn't account for, people leaving the city. We talk a lot about immigration, but I read another article yesterday about how many people have left the GTA and moved away from Ontario altogether, which I have definitely seen.
Yeah.
and especially from the more urban centers of
I agree.
of Ontario. So I wonder if that will continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're probably the biggest demographic there is, or I am, and all of us are having kids now finishing university and making decisions about what they're going to do next, including where they're going to live. So I think a lot of that is, you know, older people wanting to be near their kids.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so there might be more movement than we're used to in previous years, just because of numbers at different ages.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. But, you know, we need to get more buyers buying.
Yeah.
And we need to get sellers selling. I think that the spring is going to be really, really busy.
I have a feeling it will be
Yeah.
too, and I bet it starts from January.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
from the day 2025 hits, I have a feeling we're going to be.
I think it's going to be.
We should take
busy.
vacation now.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. Yeah. I think
I agree.
everyone I speak to seems to be thinking about doing whatever they're going to do then.
Well, there's going to be another interest rate announcement in, I think it's December 11th.
Yeah.
And then you have kind of holidays, and so I think that people will be primed. Like they may hear that announcement on December 11th, but want to get over the holidays and then go.
Yeah.
So that's I think that is a good indicator of what will happen early. So usually the spring market starts like the second or third week of February, but you could be right that it starts right after the holidays.
Yeah, I'm combining that with the fact that they keep saying it's going to be a really mild winter, so that always makes a difference too. If the weather is nicer in the winter, it brings more people out.
Yeah.
When the weather's crappy, nobody wants to house shop or do anything.
Yeah.
But sit home and watch TV. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you? Who wants to go out when it's minus a million? Yeah, so that's what it feels like. So I guess our advice to all of you listening out there is just get ready to do whatever it is that you're going to do. Just get ready so that
open
you can
your
jump.
minds, be prepared, understand the reality of fluctuations. But if you do anything but a very short-term purchase, you can ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly.
And you should be riding the wave.
You absolutely should be. It doesn't matter. Get in while you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because 5 years from now, if prices are going up almost 300,000, it's going to make a really big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Your income may not go up proportionally the same amount.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Anything else on that?
No, that's good.
All right. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone. Before you click finished, please give us a rating, a review. If you have a moment, that would be amazing. Both Apple and Spotify, which most of you that are listening listen from, have that option. So that'd be really nice if you would take a moment to do that. Thank you so much. And also don't forget to follow us on all of our social media channels at the Jenelle Cameron Team. And we really appreciate you listening as always. So hope you have a good one and happy real estate.
Happy real estate, everyone.